Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this is my first tutorial video and I will be showing you how I plant orchids on trees. I decided to make this my first video because that's what I enjoy to do. I buy orchids, I'll have them in my house for decoration. Once the flowers fall off, I prep them, I bring them outside and I attach them to my palms or my trees. Now the trees that I like to use are Christmas palms, oak trees, or Gumbo Limbo. And I choose these trees because they're textured so the roots just grab on. If I put them on my royal palms that are very smooth, those roots will never attach. I've attempted it and at least for me, it does not work. So I will be doing this video in two parts. The first part is going to be this one where I'm going to show you what orchid I use, the supplies that I use, and how I prep them, put on my trees. Second video will follow where I'm out in my garden and I am going to actually show you step by step how I attach the orchid to the tree. I wanted to break them up. I don't want to bore you. The video will be probably 10 minutes long and that's just too long to, try to grab everybody's attention. So let's get started. First supply is my orchid and I choose to use today a dendrobium. Now this dendrobium I am actually reattaching to my palm. I had to remove her right before we got hit by a Category 4 hurricane in September and she was all in bloom. She had beautiful flowers. I took her off my palm right before we got hit, put her in my house. She was there for a few weeks. Now I have her back outside and ready to go on my palm. So this is the first supply I will be using today. Second supplies or third supplies and the rest of the supplies are scissors, shears. Now these need to be sanitized before you cut anything on your orchid. You don't want the orchid to get a virus. They do get viruses. If I've used the shears on an orchid that had a virus, I will transmit that virus back if I don't get these sanitized. So I like to just rinse them off really well with soap, antibacterial soap and water. And I actually read that putting open flame on them will actually get them nice and sanitized. So I'll just show you what I do. I get the flame on them and just kind of try to get all in it so everything will be burned off and sanitized. So these have both been sanitized. I also like to attach all of my orchids on my trees with knee highs. Some people like to use that green tie wrap or even fish wiring string. I like to use the knee high because it will actually have a firm hold around the palm. I don't have to worry about it falling with the rain, with winds. It's just on there tightly. Now, today on my dendrobium, I will be using sphagnum moss. And the reason is because the original coconut husk that this came in, I did plant it originally with that and I like to plant it with that. I only use the sphagnum moss when the coconut husk is falling or brittle. Like as you can see, this one's falling apart, so I do not want to use that. So what I will do is that I will put some sphagnum moss inside the pantyhose and I will demonstrate to you how I do it. That way it'll keep the dendrobium and the phalaenopsis or the cattleyas nice and hydrated. Now I only use this when the coconut husk is damaged, or in this case I've already had them on the trees, I have to remove them, so the coconut husk will not work anymore. I also like to get them ready by just going around and taking off anything I see that's dry. So I like to just go around and trim the roots a little bit. I have old knee highs attached, so I like to get rid of that. And any old stem that's dried up, I also like to remove it. Now, try not to cut too much of these canes because they serve as water storage. And when they're outside, it's so hot, you want them to get as much moisture and water, as they can. So cutting off these canes, you're cutting off their water storage. So I'll just cut a little bit and a little bit from the top. As you can see, this is green, so that means that this cane is working. Just give it a little bit of a trim everywhere. I like to do this because once I plant them on my palm, see this one's a little bit dry all the way through. So once I plant them on my palm, I don't like to have these old stems just sticking out everywhere. I like to just have them on there and for them to look nice. I mean, they're going to be in your backyard. You want them to look, nice out there and not have all these dead stems and these dry roots just sticking out of everywhere. Okay, so now that the dendrobium is nice and ready, I will demonstrate to you what I do with a pantyhose. So I like to give it a little snip. Hope you can see that. Obviously you don't want to go all the way through, so that it can create a nice pocket for the sphagnum moss, or so when you wrap it around with the coconut husk, it could just create a nice pocket just covering that area. Okay, now I will prep the pantyhose or the knee-high. I will prep it before I go out there. So you just want to take a handful of the sphagnum moss. You want to moisten it, which I will do later. And then you want to just stuff it inside the pantyhose. Okay. So once it's stuffed, you make a little pocket, and this is what's going to be facing outwards. And it's just going to grab the tree, just like that. Okay, so my supplies are ready. I've already showed you my supplies. My dendrobium is ready, so I will meet you out by my garden in video 2. I hope you enjoyed this one. I will follow the second one right after, so you can just click on that one and watch how I get my orchids on my trees, and I will see you later. Thank you for watching.